Hey friends, welcome back. July 10th, 2022 Virtual Strangers, episode 159. We are live on the air. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend Ruuts. Ruuts, how's this Sunday treating you?
I'll tell you what, man, it's a good day. It's a nice day outside, and it's a good day to talk about VR. Excited to go hang out with my son tonight.
It's a great day to talk about VR, and today was one of those weird days where I start to put the show together. I take a look at the news, look at upload. There's not much. Look at Road to VR. Road to VR is broken. Go to Arthans, go to VR Scout. Not much doing, and I'm thinking, man, what are we going to talk about today? So I start to dig a little deeper. I go to my second tier sites, GameDeveloper.com, Video Games Chronicle, and slowly but surely things start to piece their way together, and we go from nothing to an okay show, from an okay show to a decent show to a good show, and when it was all said and done, Roots, I think we've got a really good show lined up for these people today.
Yeah, it was crazy. I kept looking. It was really easy to make a thumbnail. Sometimes I look at the things and I try to decide, which one games I'm gonna put in there, and I was like, it was no brainers. Good stuff. Really good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, man, and what a week, or what a couple of weeks it's been. I mean, a lot we can't talk about, but some things we can talk about. First of all, hello to our friend Brad, who's in chat. I guess this is a good time to announce that Brad Lynch, sadly it's Bradley, is our next guest on location. We went and met up with Brad this past Friday in VR chat, and Roots, had my first real VR chat experience.
Oh yeah.
And I got to say, man, I was pretty impressed with it.
It was cool, man. There were so many cool things. The conversation was cool. Bradley was cool. I already knew Brad was cool, but now I know he's really cool. And it's just amazing how many people are you realize after getting to hang out with them that they're just like they are in their videos, right? Because not everybody is, but he was cool. It was cool. It was a really fun time. And so much that I came out and everybody was done doing everything else that we normally do. And I was like, oh man, we missed it. But it was worth it.
It was I think it's going to turn out to be a good show. Obviously, I've got some editing ahead of me. But, Brad, as awesome as he is, was in his element, right? We're in VR chat, which is where he lives anyway. It's like his real home, VR chat. And then a lot of hardware talk, right? Right down Brad's alley. So it should turn out to be a pretty good episode. Stay tuned. Probably going to publish that later on this week, and we've got other stuff going on this week as well. I guess I'll just say, patrons, stay tuned for an insider update. We have lots going on, and I can't wait, man. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, with that said, why don't we say hello to our friends in chat, as we do have a lot to talk about today. Chinatown D's here. What's up, D? D gamed with us into the late hours, or I guess early hours of the morning last night, Roots. She gamed all day, and then we got together for some grip last night with Scion and Spry Guy and a few others, and then we went from there into After the Fall, and it probably was close to 2 a.m. before we got done playing. D's a warrior.
That's crazy, she was saying, because before she was dabbling. She did a lot of VR, but not a lot at one time, and now she's been cranking it out, and that's why I'm excited that she's getting that PC soon. And I think she's only 4 parts away, and man,
she was talking about that. I wasn't aware of what was going on with all of that. I heard you guys mention something about it during Q2C the other night, but typically with Q2C, I'm in and out. I don't catch all of it. So you guys are donating parts, right, to kind of Frankenstein her system together.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. I call it Operation Get the Gaming Computer. And originally, my computer that I'm giving my son, I was going to give to D, at least the processor, the case, and everything else. And then I'm like, I got to give it to my son. So Todd stepped forward. He donated. He's going to give a i5 generation 10 processor. Mash has given his 2080. I gave a case and just to answer your questions that she didn't know the answer to. The case is just like the one I have here, except for it's got 3 fans instead of 2 in the front, and then it's got
Right.
2 other fans, one in the back, and then the other one. If she should put a mounted processor thing, water cooled fan or on top. So I don't know. I think she'll need one. She'll have an extra one, I think. That should be a good case. But she needs a motherboard. She needs the power supply, the RAM, and it's a fourth thing. Something else. It'll come
She
to
needs
me.
RAM, mother supply, or power supply. Well, let me just say this: anybody who's thinking about donating or buying something to donate
Tuesday.
to D's PC, yes, you're already a step ahead of me. Prime Day, Tuesday and Wednesday this week, and typically that's it's like the early Black Friday for PC components. And as it so happens, now's a great time to build a PC. All everything is pretty close to MSRP, and if you watch for sales, you can catch a deal and sometimes even get it lower than MSRP. So yeah, Prime Day this Tuesday, and anybody who wants to help D out, you know what to do. Hit us up on Discord or email us or something like that.
What's crazy is some competitors are taking advantage of that. And like we've talked about with headsets, they want to get the money first. And so, like Best Buy's, just over the last week, they've been dropping their prices. Like they're doing the sale early before they want to get your money. They want to sell because I don't know, man. I think you should look and see if you know what things usually go for and good drops and sales, because there's certain things you can look at the price and say, it ain't going any lower than that. And if it does, you just return it. But yeah, definitely get those sales.
Traveling Man's with us. Said he went in the rec room one time and instantly realized it was a mistake. Very squeaky that day.
Oh.
All right, so here's what you have to do. And this goes for VR chat too, by the way, because when I loaded into VR chat for the first time, immediately I was swarmed with all these little squeakers saying, hey, you can sit on me. Did you know you can sit on me? Please sit on me, sit on me, sit on me. I had to get out of there quickly. But the secret to VR chat is the same thing with Rec Room. Private instances. You never go into public spaces in these things. Always bring your own friends and go into private instances, and you'll find a lot of value in Rec Room as well as VR chat. And I'm sure it's the same in Neos.
You can
as
mute.
Well.
You can mute people, but you know what's weird is it's exactly what you said, Wes, and I don't know why they swarm you, but it's like they do. Everybody's running over to you, and it's like is there nobody new? I mean, for me, they were asking how I got my skin, but and it was not even it was a Homer Simpson. It's not a big deal, So I don't know.
Right.
Weird.
Greg's VR is here. What's up? He says Poker Stars VR is just like that as well. Squeakers everywhere. That's kind of weird. You typically don't think about kids playing poker, but hell, man, it's 2022. Who knows what the hell's going on anymore? Ryan Brandon's here. What's up? He says he's never been into either. Well, I recommend them both, actually, and which is crazy because a year ago I wouldn't have said that. Spry Guy's here. What's up, Spry Guy? Spry Guy hang out with us last night on Mash's stream. Good times, good games. Bluebell in the house. What's up? Guido is here. What's up, Guido? Good to see you. Our brother Eric's here. What's up, Mash? Good to see you, friend. Mickey's here. By the way, that key I dropped in chat during the intro, and the keys that I'm going to be dropping in the chat throughout the course of this episode and every episode every Sunday. These are all from Mickey Barrios. So thank you, Mickey, for your generosity. We all appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Paradise Decay's here. Good to see you, friend. Let's see. Spraga, we said hello to. Mepper's here. What's up, Mepper? AppJ's here. Good to see you. AppJ, no longer a VR chat virgin. That's correct. Bradley took my virginity. Thanks for that, Brad.
Yeah.
Mind Jive's here.
He seemed to enjoy it. He really had fun taking us around, right? It's cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had some cool stuff to show us. And since then, I've taken to Google and I've found databases of worlds, so you can actually kind of browse and curate the worlds from a database website, and it'll show you like a thumbnail
Hmm.
and tags, so you know what type of worlds these are, and you can sort them by favorites, or you can sort them by visits, all sorts of different parameters. But there's almost 5,500 worlds in
Oh
VR
my
chat
god,
right now. Yeah, it's kind
that's
of
crazy.
crazy.
I wish they had
Yeah.
ones that weren't all. I mean, everything's static. I'm just kidding. It's definitely not all static. Paradise
Oh,
Decay says, "Did you know who else can sit on you in Rec Room?
My
She
mom!
sit on you everywhere. There's nowhere that what is off limits. I try to tell her
that's
not to.
right. That's absolutely right. Simplex is here. Good to see you, friend. Nice to see you in the chat as always. Um,
I was
who
in top
else? Is that
chat.
everyone? Oh, were you in top chat? I
Yeah,
hate top chat.
I hate top chat. I don't want to be bigoted. I just hate it.
Anthony Man Wexford joining us. Good to see you, friend. Thanks for stopping by. Vargosoft is here as well. Sajoba says, hi, all. Juicy title. Can't wait to watch the replay later. Yeah, we've got some juicy topics today. Diego Darko, the super fat game cat. Have a great show, y'all. I look forward to catching up in the morning. Well, thank you, Diego. Good to see you. Mike Newton with us. Wolveraza. Almost 7 hours into Resident Evil VR. Super fun. Which one? That's the question. Which one? Probably 4, right? Yeah, he was talking about 4 the other day, wasn't he? Um, and four wheeling. Four wheeling's here at the top. Good to see you. All right, man. Hussein X sliding in right at the end. Good to see you, friend. I guess it's about time to. Simplex says Brad popped my VR chat cherry.
He did. Popped it good.
Yeah. What's up? What's up? I am. Well, I'm not even going to say how old I am. I'm old enough. It's about time someone took it, right?
That's right. I
What's up,
I was
Dark
starting to
Angel?
wonder about you.
Yeah, a lot of people were, and a lot of people still are. Anyway, let's talk a little VR. Let's get into some headlines, Roots. And I wanted to start off with this. We did it, man. We did it. We mentioned it a little bit last week, but now we have confirmation. The Wicked Witch is finally dead. Meta to replace Facebook login requirement for Quest with new Meta account. This, of course, from Scott Hayden at Road to VR. Meta is finally pulling back from one of its most controversial moves affecting its VR users, which required all new Quest owners to sign up with a valid Facebook account, in addition to forcing legacy Oculus account users to link to Facebook by 2023. The move away from Facebook logins, which was first announced late last year, is said to come into effect sometime this August. It will introduce a new Meta account structure that the company says gives people, quote, more flexibility and control in VR, as it removes the Facebook account requirement and allows users to unmerge from the social platform entirely if they choose to do so. This includes a number of changes. Here's a quick breakdown of the major features as revealed by Meta. First of all, everyone needs a Meta account to log into their device. So, those of you who somehow thinks that this is like a new era of freedom in the Oculus ecosystem, think again. Everyone, they don't mince words, everyone needs a Meta account to log into their device. Everyone needs a Meta Horizon social profile used for social stuff. You can unlink your Facebook account entirely. New Meta accounts let you add Facebook or Instagram to the same account center for, quote, connected experiences. Friends will become followers, a la Instagram. So there's a big substantive change for you, Roots. They're not friends anymore. Now they're followers.
Oh, that is weird. I don't know. I never really
Um,
understood that. Well, friend.
so basically, I tried to read through the email that came from Meta on this, and it was kind of confusing because it was another one of these things like, okay, if you fall into this group of users, then this is your reality. But if you fall into this group of users, then this is your reality. It sounds like, and I could be a little off base with this, but it sounded to me like people who held out from getting a Quest because of this Facebook requirement are going to be able to now, um, get around that and just use their Meta account. Which, let's be honest, that's not a big deal. Everything that you use, be it a PlayStation or an iPhone, everything makes you register an account with it. That's not a big deal. I think most of what people were upset about was linking their social profile and a lot of personal information to their gaming profile. They didn't want to have to do that, and now they don't have to. But there were some weird caveats for people like us who already linked our Oculus account to our Facebook account. Like, it doesn't seem like, and I could have, maybe I misread it. So, take what I'm saying here with a grain of salt. But it seemed like for people like us, we're just screwed, and we can technically, decouple our Facebook account from our Meta account, but it's all kind of linked on the back end anyway. It really doesn't matter. What do you think, man? Is this a new step, a new era of freedom for VR users, or is it smoke and mirrors, a bait and switch, just a way to kind of technically say that you don't have to use Facebook. You don't have to use Facebook anymore in the same way that they're not Facebook anymore. They're Meta now, right? They're not Facebook, so they're completely different now, right? It's kind of the same thing, right? It's like it's not all that different, is it?
No, I mean, it is, but it's not. I mean, this is the thing. That what you said is true. The biggest problem with people had with it is their Facebook account was linked with it. If you got banned, maybe you lost your account, maybe you were locked out, you had a brick. People don't like Facebook. They don't want to be associated with it. And what you said is true as well. Everything, you got to have an account for, even Oculus. You want to play PC VR, you had to create an account. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't, it definitely should be no problem with that aspect of it. But a part of it is a little bit of smoke and mirrors. If what you said is true, if we're stuck in it, if that's true, I would bet, because that back end probably exists for everybody, and they're just telling us you know what I mean? How many times do we have to be told that nothing's happening, and then 5 years later they're like, oh yeah, we were collecting this whole time, and so it whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But the biggest takeaway is now it's going to free up people that weren't able to get Quest 2s in their country, like Germany or other countries. They won't let, because of Facebook, they're not allowed in their country. So that should free things up for them, which is
You
always
could kind of understand too why the German people would be a little bit weary about linking their social information
Yes.
to a big database like that too, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you this, while I would say 95% of this is much to do about nothing, you did mention something that is a good point and is kind of a big deal, even for us. And that is, we don't have to worry about our Facebook standing bricking our Quest account anymore. Having those decoupled is a big relief for us specifically because, as you know, and as a couple of other people know, we have a shared account. Sometimes we don't get multiple review keys for games, so we have a virtual strangers account that we put our single keys onto, and we all share it. You, me, Masher, Todd. We'll probably let Dee in on it, I would imagine, at some point as well, if she keeps up contributing the way that she has been. But it's always in the back of my mind that they could find out that the name of the person that owns that account isn't real. You know what I mean? And that's not a real person, and we could lose access to all those games. And it's a pretty sizable library at this point. It's nice to know now that that's not going to be a worry anymore. I can completely decouple and probably even cancel that Facebook account entirely after this takes hold, and then we don't have to worry about it anymore. We can just have our show account and proceed as always without fear of losing our library.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a good thing, not just for us, but for anyone who had to create a Facebook account just so that they could play VR. Um, I could definitely see this as a big positive for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They probably already got everybody's information anyway. They don't need it. Like,
Yeah, right. It's all they've already got what they need.
that's done.
Vargosoft says, "Looks like my Quest One is still becoming a brick next year."
Oh,
So, so that's
bummer.
interesting. Are you just opposed to creating a meta profile, or is it some of those caveats that I was talking about earlier that isn't quite letting you decouple the way that you want to? I'd
Pico.
be interested to know.
Get the Pico.
Yeah, that'll be better. Give your information to ByteDance instead, right?
It's like which entity do you want to? This is the reality. We've said it before. Every business is collecting your data. It doesn't mean you just willy-nilly give your information out to everybody. But you can only do so much. If you want, I mean, every time you accept the terms of service and don't read it, which is 99.999% of us, who knows what the hell we're agreeing to? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
So my stance on this is what it always has been. Yeah, there are things about it that sucks. There are things about it that are profoundly interesting and deserve more thought. For example, the AI angle that we've talked about a few times on this program. But the fact of the matter is that it's too late. We're beyond the point of any kind of expectation of privacy. We live in a digital world now. Everyone is collecting data, whether they're doing it above the table or under the table, and you should just give up, submit. Because you're not going to get away from it anyway unless you just turn it all off and just don't participate at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brad says Meta was able to pad their Facebook new user stats with all the younger people getting Quest 2s. No longer. Admission that their Facebook moneymaker is on a downward trend. Yeah. Well, a lot of.
I didn't think about that.
And this kind of insulates them too from, or at least they're trying to separate and distance themselves from that Facebook brand because of pending legal issues with the government. Right, the government could levy some heavy consequences for past business practices and alleged malfeasance by Facebook. But Facebook's that's all in the past now. This is Meta, completely
That wasn't
different,
us, man. That was Facebook. We're Meta. It's pretty smart.
Bradley also says the Oculus is also being broken with version 42 via new safeguards. So Oculus is the third-party software that allows you to decouple your device from your Facebook profile. So it kind of sucks that they're breaking that. But also, if I'm not mistaken, Oculus allows you to install third-party apps like Discord and some other things like that. So if all that gets broken, that kind of sucks.
They need to, if it gets broke, they need to fix it. I need to get Discord on my, there's so many, like, why do we not have apps up the wazoo on our thing, man? Like, I know why. It's Meta, but I want apps. That's why I want the Pico.
Well, at least Discord would be nice, right? Because of the general jank in the party system that has been there from day one and persists until this day. It would be nice if we could get a good solid audio connection through Discord running in the background. Plus, I'd like to be able to get my YouTube chat in there as well. Yes. If I could do those two things, then I would use my Quest and do a lot more Quest content. But yeah, apparently we have to find workarounds for all that right now.
It should be standard. I mean, if granted they want you to stream on their platform, but if they were really thinking of the users, when you hit that plus, well, I guess there'd be a plus for the Quest, I guess, and you'd be able to pull up any of your chats, right? Even if it's not intensive, you can't. Maybe when you click on the YouTube page, It only pulls up the chat. It's specifically chat. It's not going to pull up your YouTube. It's not going to show you a bunch of other crap. It's just going to be the chat. I think that would be a really good feature. So
Yeah. Well, who needs that feature anyway, Roots? Because we can always stream to Facebook, right?
yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Does anybody watch Facebook stream? I guess they must. I don't know.
Good point. Wolveraza says Live just brought in YouTube integration. Oh, good on Live. Like that. That could be very handy in a standalone um, device application. Hopefully, Live is working on that. I learned a few new things that Live is working on over the weekend, and useful to all content creators and streamers. Some of this stuff is going to be so. It
Wow.
wouldn't surprise me if they're not working on those sorts of solutions for people like us.
Cool. Sounds good.
Anyway, I didn't want to spend too much time getting bogged down on this one. I just wanted to go ahead and let people celebrate. Roots, we did it. We did it. We're free at last.
We did it!
Oh, I feel so good. It is a good feeling actually, because there's a lot of people like Scion, I think Spry Guy also, that were like, I'm not doing it, and maybe they'll reconsider. Maybe not Scion, but Spry Guy.
Yeah, well, maybe because of the general, you can get. I get it. These guys, Scion especially, wants to wait for the next generation of hardware to
Oh, that's
drop.
right. His is
We're so
tracking.
close now. Yeah, we're so close now that it wouldn't make sense to invest a large amount of money in new hardware at this stage.
True.
With that said, he still might end up picking one up because it's not like you exactly have to spend a large amount of money to get a Quest 2. I mean, you can get a refurb for $250. You can get them for $200 on Facebook Marketplace all day long. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot, and in many ways, it would be an upgrade for our friend. So maybe he'll start to consider it now that Facebook requirement is no longer a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, let's move on to the next headline. This is one that I really wanted to dive into a little bit deeper today, and this headline is a little bit older, but I wanted to take a step back so we can kind of frame up the discussion today. This one coming from Upload VR and Ian Hamilton. Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead VR mods at risk after Take-Two notice. A modder behind tools that make some of the world's biggest games playable in VR may take some of them down after receiving a copyright notice from Patreon. The modder, who goes by Luke Ross, is known for releasing tools that get a range of modern video games playable in VR, including Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, and many others. Updating his Patreon supporters today regarding a notice sent to him on behalf of Take-Two Interactive Software, he wrote that he was seeking clarification, but would, quote, err on the side of caution, and I will not risk other games being involved in the purge in case Patreon elects to shut down my page. I don't host or sell anything exploiting or repurposing their original IP and assets, and my mods only work if the user already owns a legal copy of their original games. That said, if I get no clarifications from them allowing me to determine what they want removed, I will of course be forced to take down anything even remotely related to any product made or distributed by Take-Two Interactive Software, Rockstar Games, 2K Games. That means all posts, images, guides, recommendations, tutorials, and above all my VR mods for GTA 5, Red Dead 2, Mafia Definitive Edition, and of course the entire Mafia trilogy will be taken down and no longer will be accessible to download. So again, this is an older article, Roots, and since then, of course, he has received no clarification and has subsequently taken down said mods, and I assume all that other stuff that he said that was related to it.
It's all gone. I confirmed today.
Yeah. So it's all gone now. And just to be clear, this is a guy who makes a pretty good living doing this stuff um, through his Patreon exclusively. He keeps these mods behind a paywall, $10 per month, if you want to gain access to it legally. So now it's gone, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, Roots, because let's do this. You posted on our Discord this week some of the stuff off of some of his posts from his Patreon regarding this issue. So let's get into that. What exactly he said, and we'll kind of break it down as we go. Bear with me just a moment while I pull it up. I wasn't exactly.
Sadly, as Bradley says, we did it, everyone. VR has become so big that the big players are terrified of these mods. There's a lot of truth to that, right? And it kind of...
There's some truth to it. There's some truth to it. Now, the timing of it is funny because there was just a big article that went out through a major publication the week before talking about how Luke Ross makes $20K per month. That's $20,000 per month, largely because of his Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead mods.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah. So I'm not so sure if it's about the money, if it's about someone else profiting from their IPs, or if it's just about the visibility of it now, because it's kind of out there now that someone else is profiting from those IPs.
Yeah.
Which thread did you post that in?
I think it was under VR news, even though that's not really news, but I guess I consider it news.
Okay. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. All right. Again, this is from Luke Ross's Patreon directly. Hi. Maybe you just landed for the first time on my Patreon page. Welcome. Or perhaps you've been a supporter for a long time. But you might be wondering the same thing. Where's the download? Unfortunately, on July 6, 2022, Take-Two Interactive, parent company of Rockstar, yada yada yada, saw fit to issue a DMCA notice against me and my creations. The reasons are anybody's guess because no one has been able to reach any Take-Two representative in order to find out what alleged copyright violations they found in my flat screen to VR conversion software. Among those who tried and failed to establish contact with Take-Two are myself, The Verge, Kotaku, Upload VR, and Rock Paper Shotgun. Some people believe that they just can't stand their paying customers to be able to play in VR if they don't directly squeeze out additional profit from that, beyond the price of the game, that is, since my mods only work with the original titles. Others are speculating that Rockstar might be about to launch some VR port of their own and wants to preemptively snuff out competition. I have no idea. As I said, they seem to believe that they are well above the need to communicate with us mere mortals. Anyway, since Patreon was threatening to suspend my account, that would have likely killed off all of my VR mods for other games too. For the time being, I chose to sweep out anything that could be even remotely connected or related to games by Rockstar and 2K. Be patient. In a few hours, I should be able to attach here a new version of the mod, which removes support for those titles that are under dispute and allows you to play again. That's my priority at the moment. As soon as I can give you back access to the crippled mod, I will add to this post or create a new one in order to let you know what my position is and how best I think we should act as a community in order to get back what we work so hard for. In the meantime, though, behold the new awesomely restyled banner and avatar. I want to skip ahead a little bit. I don't want to read all this stuff. He says, I've already seen people saying things like, let's pirate the mods, or I'll put the old version on a public server, or let's post them everywhere and torrent them. That's not cool, man. Stealing my work, which is the fruit of many patrons pledging their own hard-earned money, just because greedy corporations want their corporate wallets, to become even fatter is probably not the best way to go about this. What do you think? All right, so let's break right here. He says, "What do you think?" Well, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that that Luke Ross is right. That if what he says is true, and that his mods contain no code or any kind of anything from the original Rockstar title and are standalone software like Vorpex that's designed to work in tandem with these other pieces of software that we all own digital rights to when we buy them, then he's in the right from a legal standpoint. And he should not be pulling this down. Now, I get it. I get it. Patreon is threatening to suspend his account and all of his income if he doesn't remove this stuff from their server. But, Roots, can't he remove this stuff from their server and put it somewhere else? Leave his Patreon intact. All this bucket loads of money that he's making still gets to roll in. And the people that have been paying him every month for well over a year now still get access to these mods, which again, we've all paid for already. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not wrong. And he did an update today. I haven't posted it, but because I was busy doing other stuff. But somebody put a petition up, and he's saying, everybody signed the petition. Petition's great, but you know what? How about you force the issue? How about you take a stand, Luke? How about you put something in the fight and say, you know what? Your Patreon's making me remove. Like you said, they're forcing me to remove it, so I'm going to do it. Then Patreon has to. I don't know. I guess they could still try to do something weird if there's anything weird going on besides that going on. Like maybe if Take-Two put a squeeze on him. But either way, somebody needs to take a stand. He's in the best position. I didn't hear anything. And Mash said this the other day, and I kind of poo-pooed it. But no mention of a lawyer. And I know he said he tried to reach out. But, what is happening here? And this knee-jerk reaction, I'm going to pull everything. I don't want everything to get pulled down. The only mods I care about are those two mods, really. And so I'm one of those people that have been paying. I just paid yesterday to find this news out. I feel kind of crapped on, you know what I mean? And part of me wants to put torrents out. No, I wouldn't do that, but I do have a copy of the mod, and I went in there today. So
what are people supposed to do, Roots? I mean, a lot of people bought these titles during the most recent Steam sale so that that they can finally play these mods, right? Like what about people who dropped $30 for Red Dead 2 weeks ago so that they can play these mods? We're not supposed to get the mod from our buddy or from a torrent site or some public domain site because Luke wants to protect his investment and protect his Patreon page. The guy's making $20K per month. And I'm not going to read through the rest of what he said, but I'll just give you the gist of it in a nutshell. He tells people to write Rockstar, write 2K, write your friggin' congressman. He wants people to take this, he wants people to take up this legal issue for him. And with the kind of money that he's making, he can afford to have legal representation do this for him. But he's not going to. You want to know why he's not going to? Because it doesn't matter to him. He doesn't care if people get to play that mod. All that he cares about is that his money keeps rolling in. That's the reason why he's submitting without any kind of a fight whatsoever. And that's the reason why he's asking everyone to not share the mod with each other, because if they do that, then they won't have to pay him for it. Well, enough people have paid for it. How much work did this guy really put into it that he needs to further monetize these mods, which, by the way, are the oldest mods on his Patreon? Like, he's been more than well compensated for the hard work that he put into doing this. I mean, how hard could the work be, Roots, when Elden Ring launches and within a week he's got the mod out? How much work did that take that he needs to make $20K per month in order to be justly compensated for it? It's ridiculous. And I think it's ridiculous that he expects people to not share what they've paid for, and that he expects people to keep paying him for it, even when he won't even stand up and fight for us. He wants us to fight for him when he should be fighting for us. And if I'm just going to say it, the only way that we're going to get him to do the right thing, the only thing that he even understands is what Patreon did to him. And that is the threat of his income going away. So I think people should unsubscribe to Luke Ross's Patreon right now until he provides a means for people to get their hands on this mod again. Because again, like Ruuts said, this is what people want. People aren't joining up so that they can get the Horizon mod. Maybe some people are joining up for the Elden Ring mod, but it doesn't work all that well anyway. Most people are signing up for these Rockstar mods, and if we can't get them, then what are we paying for? Unsubscribe today. Make this guy do something instead of just passing the buck to all of us. That's my opinion on it anyway.
I agree 100%. And it's funny because he says he wants to, he needs to be compensated. Well, how about I get compensated for the money I've spent and know that, it's funny because I mentioned this a month ago, 2 months ago. And I said the PC VR mods are awesome. I said, until they, for whatever reason, they're not supported anymore. And one day it's gone overnight and you have nothing to show for it, which is one thing if it's the Resident Evil Prey Dog mod that you didn't pay for. But I've been paying for Luke Ross from the very beginning. And it really is, especially lately, especially today with my new video card. Red Dead I want to play Red Dead. I've already locked my upload. I'm not downloading any shit from Rockstar until I finish this game. So they're going to have to deliberately break this mod without an upload or an update. And I'm going to try to play as much as I can because I want to finish the game. I wanted to play the game, and I'm halfway through. I want to play it from beginning to end in VR. And it sucks.
Yeah, and let me be clear here. A lot of people have criticized Luke Ross for putting this stuff behind a paywall to begin with. I have no issue with that whatsoever. The guy does work. He's doing it for money. I get it. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But there are ways that he can still monetize this without just completely taking it down. He's completely taking it down so that he can attempt to create a movement amongst the regular people, his patrons, people who are paying him to again do the work that his lawyers should be doing. And I'm all for people writing letters and doing petitions. All that's fine.
It is good.
But if he's not going to do his part, then people shouldn't be supporting him anymore. And again, monetize it all you want. I mean, you could take it. There's any number of other websites that can host this thing. And by the way, the mod itself there aren't like individual mods for these games. They're all under one mod. It's called the Real VR mod. And he could host that on another website without even referencing these games. Keep his Patreon intact. He could start an email list where he emails people the updated file. It's a small file. There's any number of ways that he could go about continuing to service the people who are paying him, but he's not doing it.
Like you said, he doesn't care. Simplex says
he doesn't care.
It's suicide to go up against it. It Takes Two, or I guess it's not It Takes Two, but it may be, in a sense, you don't have to go up against them, but you don't have to throw your patrons that have been paying for the thing from the beginning under the bus and say, you know what, it's no longer, we're pulling this out. And
all right, so fine, you don't want to take on Take Two anymore. You don't want to come up against the corporate machine. Fine, then let people share it. Give people your blessing to go out there and share it with other people. Don't tell them not to. The only reason telling people not to is because that way he doesn't get to charge new users. He's hoping that people resolves this for him so that he can put it right back up behind the paywall, and all these new users that are coming into VR, he can charge them for it too. If you're going to take it down and keep it down, tell people to share it, or at least don't tell them not to. And then again, you can monetize all your future work all you want. Just because Luke Ross isn't as generous as Prey Dog and some of these other modders doesn't mean that he's scum of the earth for wanting to get paid for his work. I have no issue with that. I have an issue with the way that he's passing the buck on to his patrons, the people that pay him, and seemingly the only thing that really matters to him is whether or not his cash flow gets shut down by Patreon.
He's setting a dangerous precedent, like what's next?
Yeah.
Then now, I mean, all of a sudden he gets another email from this. Oh, we got to pull this too. We're pulling this, and everybody's pulling their mods because this is the reality, free speech, whatever it is. And this kind of falls under that in some respect of, as far as not free speech, but just, I guess, property rights, right? There's nothing illegal going on here. And sometimes somebody has to go up in the legal system to set the precedent so that other people aren't getting put over the coal.
Well,
why do you think Take-Two can do this? Because nobody stands up.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. There is a precedent. There have been similar cases tried, and the modders have won. It's just, lawyers are expensive, bro. That's really what it comes down to. Skiva has a good point here. He said he should have never made his Patreon earnings visible. That was what screwed him.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That absolutely was what screwed him.
Yeah.
But we can't put that cat back in the bag now, can we?
No.
Corporate Zombie says send them via email. I mean, that was just off the top of my head one solution. I mean, he could host the thing on itch.io. A lot of people who do Kickstarters host their software and all the updates through itch.io, and itch.io has a whole structure. Or if you want to give people free access, you can. So he could set it up on itch.io, and all he has to do with his Patreon is list that you have access to the real mod via itch.io. He never has to mention Take-Two or Rockstar or any of these titles, and all of a sudden Patreon's hands are tied. They can't do anything. He can still charge new users through the itch.io system, and again, it wouldn't. I mean, it would be a little bit of work on his part, but this way, everyone wins, right? He gets his money. People who paid get their mod, and Take-Two can go fuck themselves. You know what I'm saying? But again, he won't be bothered to do that if there isn't any reason for it. If people just keep right on paying him, then he's not going to do anything. Why would he, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He lost all the good titles overnight, at least in my opinion. Although I do want to check out the Cyberpunk one now that I have a card that can push it, right? But I don't know, man. It's just a crazy thing. And you just came up with that off the fly, that idea. And you know what I mean? And he's been dealing with this for whatever. Like Mash was saying, he should have had legal representation from the beginning. If he didn't, he's a fool. And so I'm sure he does to some extent. He's just chosen the easier route of not trying to push it through court. And but there's so many other options. Cutting it sucks.
VR Demon says, I think Luke stopped caring when everyone was bashing his mods. Sure, a lot of people like his mods, but also a lot of people, including myself, don't. Now that's another good thing that we should touch on here, because I've had two experiences with Luke Ross mods,
Wes,
and neither of them have been particularly good.
Come on, Wes. I don't know, man. It's so weird because it's always been good for me. Although I will say, I went into Red Dead 2 today with the 3080 Ti, and I left the 3D on, and it was better, but it was still ghosting, man. Like the mods aren't perfect. I played for like 45 minutes today. I turned it back to mono because it looks better. That's kind
of a VR mod that doesn't support 3D. Not well anyway.
It supports it, but it's not perfected because he moves on from thing to thing, and
that's what I'm driving at, Roots. He moves on from thing to thing. Now he's sitting here and painting himself as this hardworking software engineer who is constantly slaving away at his project and deserves to be compensated for it. But I ask you, I mean, when's the last time that he actually finished any of these? Like, when you look at free work like what Prey Dog's doing, uh, it, what Luke Ross does pales in comparison in terms of quality. I mean, it really does. All Luke Ross is doing what Vorpex claims to do, but doing it a little bit better in most cases.
Mm.
In some cases, Vorpex is better, but that's just another thing. I mean, if he was so like, if he cared so much about uh, his hard uh, work and wouldn't he care a little bit more about the quality of the product that he puts out, because he just puts out unfinished mods and then moves on to the next one. Again, we all know why. We know why he does that. The more big name titles he can bring into that mod, the more people are going to be paying him, right? Um, again, I think if he really cared about the people, not only would he be standing up and finding a way for us to get what we paid for, but he would be doing what any good game developer does, and that is constantly improving upon the quality of what he's selling to people. And he's not doing either of these things.
No, no. I mean, and it is as soon as a new game comes out, like Elden Ring or whatever, and he's able to, in his Patreon, that's one of the biggest things is people are constantly saying, "I want this game, I want this game." So there's a lot of pressure on him. Simplex says he's not Jesus. Would you want to go up against
I'm not
Take
saying that
Two?
he should go up against them, but there are things that he could do uh, other than just lay down
Right.
like immediately. Like there are things that he could shift. He could make it not so easy for Take
Hmm.
Two to take him down. Like I mean, what was he afraid of? That they're going to sue him? They have no legal grounds to sue him. And again, as I mentioned before, there's precedent here. And again, uh, I mean, he could always make it free, right? He could always just make the donation part, uh,
Voluntary.
voluntary, and then all of a sudden, there's absolutely no legal ground for them to sue him at all. But again, that's kind of the bottom line, right? It's all about that cash flow.
Right. And that's the thing that, I don't expect him to, you know, care about me per se, but at least care about the product. And how do you support somebody that once you realize they don't have your back, and that the game that you like or that you're there for may not be there tomorrow, for a lot of reasons, but just because he's not going to do anything about it. Like you said, there's a lot of things you could do. One of them would be going voluntary and take away that legal thing. But I don't know. I don't. That's his way. That's his living. He can do whatever he wants. But he's going to lose some patrons over it, and it kind of sucks.
Um, Cerebral Frost, the Boop Cat says it seems like there really is no copyright infringement, but there may be trademark stuff like with logos and names. Again, all that's easily fixed, right? Easily fixed. Um, Dark Angel says, such a meaty bone. Really enjoying hearing the discussion and points from all. It is a meaty bone, and you know Roots who loves meaty bones?
My
He loves
mom!
them the most. I heard
Hold on a second.
allegedly.
I'm gonna drop a link in the chat here for people's
Viewing pleasure.
consideration. Yeah, for people's consideration here, just to show that I'm not just pulling things out
They're
of my
ghosting him.
ass.
Well, then see, okay, so Take Two won't, like Wes said, okay? Take Two's ghosting him. They won't respond, so make them respond. So what you
All
do
right.
is, this is what I would have done. And of course, I don't know anything about mods or how easy this is. Separate those two games or the Rockstar into a different mod before he took it down when he was waiting for those 2 days. Put those out and say, hey, this is what's going on. Here's the version of the mod. And if we don't hear from people, we're taking it down, or whatever. And then tell them to spread that. You know what I mean? Now you've got it separated. It's not connected to your other mods, and tell people, hey, spread this. And then he can still do what he's doing. But I don't know. There's no forethought. So,
Wolf Raza says the fact that he's selling them is the issue. So let me ask you this: if he took those Rockstar games off the paid mod and put it in like a free version, and just took those games specifically out from behind the paywall, how many people do you think would stop paying his Patreon,
Well,
knowing what's going on here right now?
well, if he did that on purpose and said, "Hey, look, I'm doing this so that you can still check the game out," and or whatever, and explained it, I think people would appreciate it, and we'd be having a different discussion. We'd be saying, you know what,
Right,
people need to get out there, and so his patron might double. You
right.
know,
But he won't do that, will he? He won't voluntarily give it away. That again, that's my point. Is
which is weird
we see
because
what his primary motivation is that cash flow.
because I don't know if it's still the case or not, but it's been up until as far as I ever knew. GTA 5 came out and that one was free. That originally was free and that one was always free, and the other ones were what you were paying for. And I don't know if at some point they got put behind the paywall as well. But if that was the case in the beginning, what's the difference to do the same thing now and get Rockstar off your back? And then you're forcing them. It's like poker, right? You're calling their bluff. You're saying, okay, I'm gonna everything that you could have a problem with, I'm gonna take it away. Now come at me. What are you gonna give me next? And force them.
Right.
So
So yeah, the moral of the story is there's a number of ways he could go about this without just laying down and selling out the people who have been paying him all this time. And the only way that we're going to get him to do the right thing is by not paying him anymore. Now, what you decide to do is up to you. But if you really care and really want to see some action taken on this, the only way that you're going to get him to do anything with it is by doing exactly what Patreon did and threatening to take his income away.
yeah.
I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
I hate
And
I hate you that you had to say it too, because when you said it yesterday in the Discord, I was agreeing with you. I was like, man, I just resubscribed because I was down to like my last dollar with my video card, and so I had to unsubscribe before the first, and then resubscribe to find out the news that I needed to unsubscribe. And what a bummer.
so old Darth asks, so if Luke Ross created his own website like Vorpex, this issue would be solved, correct? No, it wouldn't. And I don't think that it's in a nutshell that it's the fact that he's profiting on it that's the issue. I think it's the visibility of him profiting on it.
Right.
Because Vorpex has been doing this with a catalog of hundreds of games for years and profiting on it behind a much more strict paywall than what Luke Ross has. Try to pirate a copy of Vorpex and see how far you get. You ain't doing that, son. It's not happening. You can pirate and share Luke Ross's mods all day long. He doesn't really put any kind of security on it that prevents people from doing it. But you will not pirate a single copy of Vorpex. And I don't care who you are. They've been behind a $40 paywall for years and support pretty much every major. Yeah,
You know?
they support pretty much every major game that's come out over the last 5 to 10 years, and nobody's saying shit about Vorpex. Nobody's giving them any kind of DMCA, takedown demands. And the reason why is because Vorpex didn't have a big article just go out saying that they make X amount of money every month. And I think if they did, they'd probably face similar legal trouble. Or I mean, if we can even call this legal trouble, it's not. All it is a DMCA request to Patreon, and it never got any further than that because Luke Ross just laid down immediately.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. What was it? Somebody was saying in the chat, if he has a fight and he loses, he would have to pay everything he has earned, and that's very valid. And I understand. I don't expect anybody to voluntarily jump right into that and decide I'm going to fight him, but you know what I mean? Like, he tucked tail and ran. He didn't even do anything. He
didn't even, right. He did nothing. He just laid down.
He laid down, and as a patron, I feel like he screwed me in a sense. But I get both sides. So
It's not all black and white. Is the point? It's not. It's not like lay down or take on take two in a lawsuit. There's lots of middle ground here, things that he could do other than those two options, and that's my point. He's not interested in fighting for the rights of the consumer at all. He's not interested in protecting anything except for his cash flow. That's it. So I guess if we want to see, I mean, I guess you can keep paying him, but do share the mod. You know, if you know somebody who picked up Red Dead on sale 2 weeks ago because they wanted to try the mod out, and Luke Ross doesn't want to give it to them, share the mod and tell the person who you give the mod to go subscribe to Luke's Patreon for a month, or do the other thing, unsubscribe to his Patreon, tell everyone else to do so, and then let Luke work out an alternative for us, other than just going, um, under the table and giving the mod to our friends.
Well, and the reality is, unless Rockstar deliberately breaks the mod with their game, if you have the old, it'd have to be the older version. So 6 months from now, or a month from now, 2 months from now, as Luke starts putting out other stuff, this mod becomes so far behind. It's not gonna, none of the other stuff, things aren't gonna work anymore for a lot of these games, and becomes a non-issue. It would only work with those games specifically, right? So
Simplex says, "How do you know he's not doing something?" Well, here's what I know. I know
his message. He said, "I'm taking."
Yeah,
Shit
exactly.
down.
Exactly. Here's all I know. I know what he's said and I know what he's done, right? And maybe he's trying to do something under the table that he doesn't quite want to reveal his hand. And if that's the case, then we can reevaluate when that becomes evident. But I don't think we can just assume that he's doing something other than what he's saying he's doing, and, other than what we can see that he's doing, which is nothing. Um, why would he? We already know why he does this. He does it for money, and if it isn't costing him anything, then I'm highly skeptical that he's actually taking any kind of real action. Again, like you said, it would kind of be stupid for him to go head to head with Take Two, but the things that he could do, there's no reason to do them under the table, like you know, hosting the mod on another website, leaving the functionality in the program, but taking their name off of his Patreon page. Really, that's all he had to do was take the name of these games off the Patreon page. He didn't have to take the mod down. Like,
So there's a lot of things, maybe doing that,
exactly.
then take two. That's all they cared about, and they're not. You know what I mean? Even if they know behind the scenes it's still going on, but it's kind of under the table. They don't care. I think that's the biggest problem. And a lot of people that are saying Vorpex is completely different. Somebody up in the chat, and you guys can scroll up there, was listing somebody's mods that are behind the paywall that they update all the time and on Patreon and our Patreon, and they've been doing it for years. They've been making money, and nobody says anything. But I guess that it all comes down to the developer. As somebody was asking about whether we had to worry, I think it was Dark Angel. We had to worry about what's that troll farming one or whatever, the one that we kind of the mod that we ran into. God, I can't think of it. It would basically those developers are in on it, so you would never have a problem with it. They want their game in VR. The problem is Take Two, right? Do you know what game I'm talking about? That mining one,
Deep
Space
Rock
Mine. Yeah,
Galactic.
Deep Rock
Yeah.
Galactic. The developers want it in VR, so it would never be an issue for them.
Um, Cerebral Frost, the Boopcat, says, I think the assumption that he's doing nothing is presumptuous. Maybe so. But I also think that the presumption that he's doing something
Is also.
uh, is also presumptuous, especially when everyone's still paying him. It hasn't affected him or his bottom line at all.
I just look at
Uh,
his words, and like you said from the very beginning, He's putting it on. He basically said, you need to go out and do a petition and do all these things, which are great. But it's the wording of it. And then also the fact that I'm just getting tired of shit being taken away, being charged for something. Now, granted, this isn't a game that, but how many games did we lose last week between Spark or whatever it is? Saying we're pulling games out, we're digitally losing everything because nobody takes a stand, and that's just frustrating. And I don't expect Luke to do it, but at least do some of the other things and their steps, and to see how far Take-Two will take it. And then you realize, okay, they really are serious. We do need to do something. And that it does kind of lead me to believe that he doesn't have representation or not proper representation, because I think that's what they would be telling him. You know? I don't know.
Simplex says he does not know what Take-Two expects of him, so he made the safe bet and removed everything. I hope he's currently consulting lawyers. Patreon just told him that they will remove his Patreon. Exactly, which is what he's protecting. He's protecting his Patreon, which again, he wasn't contacted directly by Take-Two. Patreon was contacted by Take-Two. And there are ways, again, that he can remove all references to these properties from his Patreon and be in compliance and still deliver the same mod to people, which again isn't the GTA 5 mod or the Red Dead 2 mod. It's the real VR mod, which works on multiple different games, just like Vorpex. He could even again host the file on a different website, and all of that stuff being removed from Patreon takes care of all of his problems, right? But again, that's not what he did. So I don't know. It all seems pretty shady to me, and I guess maybe I'm being a bit cynical here, but you know, just by judging from his past lack of support for everything that he puts out, it seems to me like he's someone who's motivated primarily by the income. And I think that if his income doesn't change, I don't see him being very motivated to fight for the rights of his consumer base. Maybe I'm wrong, and if I'm proven to be wrong, I'll be the first to come on here and say so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I think we should probably move on, as we are running the risk of going in loops here, which we have a few times already. Anyway. And let's get into some actual gaming news, because we do have some really cool stuff to talk about this week.
Time is like a tide. And shapes us. Uncovers our secrets. Hidden deep below the surface. With each rush upon us, it leaves a fresh scar behind. No matter how hard we fight, we can never stop it. We alone must find meaning amidst the flow. Creating our own fate. Finding our own answers. For when all is lost, the tide remains
This from Video Games Chronicle. Returnal's Steam listing continues to get updates ahead of a possible reveal. In May, Steam database logged the presence of a new product in the database which goes by the code name Oregon. While it isn't immediately clear what the game is, certain localization strings in the game's listing make it clear that it's a PC port of Returnal. Now, the site's history page shows that the in-development game continues to get new builds on a daily basis. On Thursday, for example, the game's achievements were updated with new localizations, with 19 new languages added. Although the Oregon codename doesn't give away that the game is Returnal, its localization strings include such phrases as Atropos, the Tower of Sisyphus, in Helios, and returning, making the game's identity clear. In May, a source also shared footage with VGC appearing to show Returnal running on a PC, which strongly suggests it's one of the next PlayStation console exclusives in line for a port. Returnal released for PS5 last April and is Finnish studio Housemarque's largest and most ambitious project, following several decades focused on 2D arcade-style shooters such as Super Stardust HD and Resogun. Following the game's release, Housemarque was acquired by Sony. So, Ruuts, as we continue the march up into the release of PlayStation VR 2, Returnal VR remains toward the top, if not at the very top, of mine and yours and everyone's wish list. But as we've seen with other games that are at the top of that wish list, like Resident Evil 8 Village, perhaps we don't have to wait. Perhaps people like Luke Ross and Prey Dog can make the VR version of these games a reality for us. According to this article and all of the information that it cites, it seems like this is going to become a reality sooner rather than later. And then I'll be on this very show telling everyone to give Luke Ross their money.
You have to, because it's so good. And then the DMCA comes from Sony, and then he's like, I'm out. That's the worry, right? But I'll tell you what, Returnal in VR, I'm there. I'm already there. PD said something in the chat that I didn't even really think about, but he says, over 100 hours in this game, it's harder than Elden Ring. And he's right. It's one of the hardest games. And it made me think, like, I've been so daunted. They got this co-op mode, and it's almost like it screws you because there's limited resources, right? But I think I've screwed myself. I've never gone in with Wes. That's the thing, man. Wes is I need to go in with somebody that's really good, so it doesn't matter. And he can carry me through, because when I went in with D or I went in with MASH, we didn't do well. You know what I mean? And it was just because we never got any good things to stack up. So I almost feel like you have to sacrifice and let somebody else get some stuff to build theirs to get a good run or something. There's got to be some strat we haven't used. So.
Well, I'm certainly down for starting to chip away at it, man. I have no experience in Returnal co-op, which is a travesty because this is one of my favorite games. But you know me, I'm in VR all the time. I find it difficult to willingly go back to a game that took 100+ hours away from me when it launched.
I don't blame you.
But yeah, man, it was just last week on this very program that I was talking about how I could see Returnal in first person now. Like, I could see that working for PSVR 2. But that doesn't at all take away from my desire just to be present in this world. And this is something that absolutely could be made into a reality by modders fairly easily. And PD in the chat says, while wait for modders, I'm going to crack this bitch in Vorpex. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're able to do so. But I agree with Cerebral Frost. He says Returnal VR, the way that Hellblade was done, would be fantastic. And I agree, and that's why we're talking about it here today. Because I mean, it's obvious this is coming to Steam, right?
Yeah. Well, what's not obvious is, I mean, we've had thoughts and rumors like, is PlayStation VR 2 getting this? You know what I mean? Like, Returnal would be a great game for them to put into VR, and I would love it. I'd rather have that than some mod that, you know, one of the worst things about how good the Red Dead Redemption 2 VR mod is, even as it is the thought that it's looming over my head that it's about to get taken away from me. I want the real game. I want a real version of Returnal that they can't snatch out from behind underneath me. We may have to slum it in PCVR Modville, and I'm going to say slum it now because nothing's. It's like you're playing in a house that's made of straw, dude. You know what I mean? Build it in bricks, it'll stay forever, and nothing can blow the house down. So I don't know.
Well, let me ask you, Roots, how do you think Returnal is going to translate to PC? Because, as you know, the specific exclusive features in the DualSense controller are integral to the gameplay. Like the adaptive triggers are part of that game.
True.
The advanced haptics are part of the game. How does this game translate to a regular Xbox controller?
I guess that they said there's one, not you wouldn't be the regular Xbox controller. It would be okay. I mean, just like anything else where, we've played games that like Call of Duty, I have myself, the most recent one. I've played it flat on my PlayStation 5, and I've played it on another platform, and it was night and day difference as far as the control felt to me. But as long as they don't mind buying a controller, I'm sure somebody will come up with the settings in Steam to be able to use that, because you can actually use the settings, the haptics and all of that if somebody programs it for you in there.
Right,
So,
right. And that's a good question Paradise Decay asks as well. Could they port the controls over? I use PS5 controller on Steam now. That's right. Steam does support DualSense controller. So what I'm wondering is, has anyone in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, put it in the comments. Has anyone played a game on Steam with their PlayStation 5 DualSense controller
adaptive triggers. Yeah.
that has actually made use of the advanced haptics, has made use of the adaptive triggers? Like there are a lot of cross-platform games like Call of Duty that are published both on PlayStation and on Steam. I'd be interested to know if there's precedence here, if another game has used these features, or would it be a first if someone were able to pull it off?
I could have sworn somebody, when PS5 first came out, they were saying, and maybe it was Derail or somebody was saying that there's ways to, if the developer or somebody puts it out, they can actually make use of the adaptive triggers and everything, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, let's think about this for a minute then. Are there any PlayStation exclusives that make use of these features that have come to PC already? So
That's a
we
good
have
point.
we have Horizon Zero Dawn's a last gen game, so that wouldn't be one. Maybe Death Stranding, like the deluxe edition. I think it had some updates for the new controller. Maybe that would be a good one to test out. What else? Call of Duty we already mentioned.
AFAIK, there are, I guess, so there are already PC games that use haptics on PC. So does that mean that they use the haptics for a game that's not related to? I don't know.
I don't mean like regular haptics. I mean the haptics in the DualSense are different. It's not just a standard rumble. It's something more similar to like Joy Cons on the Nintendo Switch. They have different very unique feels to them, depending on what you're doing in game. Is adaptive triggers a proprietary technology? I don't think so, Tate, because word has it that the Project Cambria, or I guess we can now call it the Quest Pro controllers, are looking to incorporate some form of adaptive triggers as well. Now, maybe the specific way that Sony goes about it, that might be proprietary, but the concept itself isn't, because others are starting to do it.
Simplex says he means PlayStation 5 haptics that they are used in Call of Duty Cold War. I know.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that, I mean, if they can do that, because I know Cold War is amazing to me. When the guns feel, each one feels different, just the way that they recoil, right? So
Well, that's cool because I have that on PC. I've never played it, but I might consider it a little more now that I know I could play like the PS5 version on PC. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
And PD says that apparently it depends on the game. Apex Legends does have the haptics and the adaptive trigger support on Steam with the PS5 controller. So
I guess
there we go.
just like anything else, somebody's got to move it over, right? And if somebody does it,
And, and and what a boon that would be for Sony, right? I mean, they put a game out like Returnal that makes such heavy use of these features. You're going to have PC gamers everywhere going out to buy PS5 controllers, aren't you?
yeah, because that's the thing is like they've heard about these controllers and they haven't been able to get a PlayStation 5 or they never would, but they love the technology the way it sounds. Why not? And maybe they even are. I mean, they've been trading games with Valve. Why? Maybe they give them a profile. They say, hey, we want this to be included in our profile for the official controller, hookup or whatever. The adaptive triggers just work in any game that Sony would have out. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, PD says that also Assassin's Creed Valhalla and, as I mentioned before, Death Stranding Director's Cut both make full use of the controller. So, and again, these controllers are something that are in stock. You can go to Walmart today and there's tons of them. If they're not like PlayStation 5s, you can get them. So yeah, man, I think it's a win-win for Sony, and I think a game like Returnal is the perfect thing to kind of drive people in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless, this can't come soon enough, man, and we're kind of speculating now that there's going to be a big PlayStation showcase either next month or in September. I would fully expect that this announcement to be part of that showcase. And we could be playing Returnal VR by the end of the year, man. That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. It's awesome for PC players. That's one of the best games I've ever played, and now they're going to get to play it if they haven't been able to. There's even, I mean, there's people that have PCs. They don't have a PlayStation 5. They have a PS4, and it's a PS5 exclusive, right? So they haven't been able to play it either. So
right. Anyway, from one awesome Sony exclusive that comes to PC to another awesome Sony exclusive that comes to PC. Hitman 3 VR getting a very cool update very, very soon.
You rejected us because we were different. Outcasts of society, we've built our kingdom in the shadow of yours and grew stronger every day. Not playing by your rules, we survived. Now you look at us with envy and fear. You say I am like nothing else in this world, that I know no law, no pity. That I dare all things and crush down without remorse all that stand in my path. Do your people understand what it takes to keep a family afloat?
Hitman 3's new Ambrose Island map dated with location reveal trailer. This again from Video Games Chronicle. IO Interactive has taken the wraps off Hitman 3's latest sandbox playground, Ambrose Island. The new map, which is shown off in the preceding trailer, will be released as a free update on July 26th. Quote, The tropical island is a hidden cove, home to a dangerous pirate syndicate operating in the Andaman Sea and to many hidden secrets, Io said. This fully explorable sandbox location is packed with new targets, gameplay opportunities, challenges, unlockable rewards, and is free for all owners of Hitman 3. IO previously said that the new map will have an intriguing narrative for Hitman fans, as it takes place before the events of Hitman 3 and fills in a few gaps from the World of Assassination storyline. Ruuts, Hitman 3 is just the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? I mean, this game is already hopelessly full of content, more than I'll ever have enough time to play. But here they are, you know, what, a year and a half now past launch, still putting brand new story content and environments into this game, which, by the way, the environments are probably the biggest selling point for this game.
Yeah, especially on PC VR, right? I don't know, man. I this is the thing. It's such a weird genre to see, like, you know, as you were describing it and talking about this pirate thing, and then you're thinking this is Hitman, but how cool is it? I want to see different environments. I want to go maybe sail on the ocean or do whatever it is and kill people, and it's just different. And it's one of the best games in VR, even though somebody said, I think it was Mepper or something, no, Bluebell or somebody was saying it's, you know, fun as hell but janky. It's not even janky. If you just play seated, then the jank goes away. But
Most of it, yeah.
Most of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I was kind of surprised at the lukewarm reception the PC version of this thing got, because it was pretty widely accepted on PlayStation VR. And as we've pointed out many times, the PC version is markedly better than the PlayStation version, which again was great. It was our PSVR game of the year that year.
Yeah.
But man, you know, I'd like to sit here and say I can't wait to play this, but honestly, like I haven't made it through half of the content yet that Hitman 3 has made available. I just don't have time for it. But I gotta say, and you kind of alluded to this a moment ago, I love the variation here, man. This tropical island setting with, like, it's kind of like Somali pirates. Obviously, it's not actual Somalia, but it's that same like type of scenario that you would love to kind of be a secret agent and be dropped down in the middle of it. Yeah, man, I love the variety. I love that it's free for everyone who already bought the game, and it makes me hopeful that this isn't truly going to be the end of the franchise, and that they do continue to give us future installments of the game.
Hitman's so much fun, especially in VR. It's just switching costumes, killing people, switching back, or maybe not killing them, you know, trying to sneak past them, poisoning them. So many options. Now this is even more that you can do. And I mean, I agree with Wolfie that the controls aren't perfect. I wish they had done, like, I mean, can you imagine if they did like Half-Life Alyx controls in this game? If they really had taken the time to put hand presence in there, this would be so big, right?
I think Luke Ross should do it.
Yes, I think we need to get Luke. Oh wait, Luke Ross. That's one of the big things. Another thing that we didn't shit on him for. He never even brings any hand presence. It's 100% just bringing the controllers in, which I don't mind. But a lot of other better modders, like, literally will change everything and bring it into first person hand presence.
It wouldn't be that big of a mod for this, because Hitman 3 on PC already has hand presence.
That's true.
You just don't have full functionality with your left hand. And there's still a lot of button press interactions in the game, even though you have your hands. But your hands do work, and you can use your left hand to steady your rifle and do a lot of stuff that you can't really do all that well on PlayStation. Again, it is better on PC. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think it would be a ton of work for a modder to kind of get rid of everyone's major complaints with Hitman 3 VR.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's probably coming. I mean, the modding community is so amazing, and there's so many mods for Hitman already, right? I'm sure somebody will do it. Somebody will fix it.
We say next with the £3 donation. Thanks for another great show. Well, thank you for your
Absolutely.
support.
Thanks for hanging out.
Your ongoing support, it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, for sure.
No, man, I love Hitman. I love it just as it is. Could it be better? Sure, but it already is better than a lot of. I mean, I could think of 100 games that have better motion controller support than Hitman, but none of them are actually a better game
Right.
than Hitman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, take some of that controller functionality away and give me more games like Hitman. It seems like a fair trade for me.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Reminded me that's one of the games I want to go back into with the better card, right? Because the environments were so beautiful, you know? So
yeah, and here's the thing: I typically don't even like sandbox style games, but VR and Hitman specifically has taught me that if you can get a sandbox rich enough and with a full enough variance in the possibilities, that sandbox gameplay can be awesome. Like the very thing I hate about a lot of games is what makes Hitman great, is that you can play it however you want. You can be offensive, you can be stealthy. You just have to achieve the objective, and they give you infinite amounts of ways that you can go about achieving that objective. Hitman is an impressive piece of software. I mean, I don't want to re-review the game, but the way that there are so many NPCs in these scenes, like hundreds, thousands, in some cases of NPCs, all of them going about their business, having unique conversations. No two look alike. I mean, it's really impressive what they've done here with this, and it's one of the best games in VR, even despite its faults.
that rave scene where you go into that underground rave party, right? That's one of the places. And man, like what's crazy is you can push. I just walk up and push somebody. If you get curious, you're like, I wonder how people would react, and then they freak out, and it's just so much fun.
In Hitman, I lured a supermodel away from the show. I killed them and took their clothes, and then I went to their makeup stand and had their makeup put on me. I walked down the runway in front of hundreds of viewers and people who were.
Did you strut your stuff?
I did strut my stuff.
Hell yeah!
And when I got to the end of the runway, I threw a screwdriver through somebody's eye. That's the beauty of Hitman. Like, where else can you do that?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a perfect streaming game. You know what I mean? Because you can get it totally extreme.
But I had to press A to throw the screwdriver.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Never mind. I'm out.
It's garbage. It's garbage.
You know what's funny is like some games get a pass for stuff pressing a button. You know what I mean? And I guess it's implementation, because I know I saw Wolvie in Discord recently. He's been loving Resident Evil 4. He was reluctant to play it forever. He got in there and he's like, it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. And because it was so seamless, the way they did it, it didn't, and that's why I'm saying I think Hitman 3, they really could have done it, the controls a little bit better to where.
Yeah, and they certainly could have done a better job of explaining to people what to expect. I think that was the big disconnect with it, is they were a little bit deceptive in what the PC version would offer. Yeah. And they certainly could have mitigated a lot of the criticism had they been more forthcoming in the lead up to launch.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do, because the PC VR modders are so good, and because there's already a modding community for Hitman 3, I think that somebody will fix it. And there's, hell, man, there might be a mod out there right now. And so go check the mods and then let us know in the Discord if there's one, so we can put it in our game, right?
Yeah, we could do it during our next mod month, which, by the way, is probably going to kick off next week. Maybe we'll get started on it this week, but probably next week we're going to do another 4 weeks in a row covering mods. Luke Ross top of the list. We're going to do Red Dead
Gotta
first.
get in there.
Got to get in there and get it done. But I'd say that likely candidates GTA 5, Firewatch. We may give Deep Rock another look because people keep asking us to. And then
I want to play it too. I want to actually play multiplayer. That game. I mean, who is it? Diz that goes in there? Is it Diz that goes in there all the time? Hacker. I know there's a couple people.
There's a few people, yeah
and they rave about it all the time. So,
yeah, I think Voycat might be going in there too.
Yeah.
And then there was another one. What was Outer Wilds? People keep telling us to do Outer Wilds, so we might try to get that one in too.
I'm thinking about picking up Cyberpunk so I can check it out now that I have a card that can actually leverage it. You know.
That's one that I personally have been looking forward to trying out myself. There's a couple of different mods out there for it. You know, there's Luke Ross mod. There's also the Vorpex mod, which does have some form of motion controllers where the Luke Ross don't.
Wow.
So yeah.
Definitely.
We'll have to research and see which one of those people recommend more and try one of them out, if not both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we got a couple more headlines to hit before we get into the next segment. So let's move along to this next item because, again, something else that's really cool.
I think one of the reasons why people love Labyrinth is it's a world you wanted to go to.
I've been watching The Labyrinth since I was a kid.
So when I heard we were going to be doing a Labyrinth course, I was really excited.
And working on the course with Mighty Coconut, I was able to rewatch it a few times and really appreciate the kind of movie that it was.
So Walkabout is a VR mini golf game, very realistic physics, capturing everything you love about mini golf, but we are able to create some amazing over-the-top courses that you couldn't possibly build in real life.
I think that one of the things to look forward to the most in an experience like this is being able to feel like you're in the world of Labyrinth and actually getting to play in that world.
So the most exciting thing for me has been something that's deeply familiar and special to me, and getting to see it be built up from the ground up and how everyone's putting their own time and sort of twists into things.
With every course in Walkabout, we have a very kind of specific, intentional, low-poly aesthetic, translating Jim Henson's puppetry into work for the Walkabout courses, specifically making the polys in a way that still felt like it was puppets. It was sort of the main goal when I was approaching a lot of the design for them.
The most exciting part about designing this is, funnily enough, also the most scary part, which is trying to get that translation from film to 3D. Every time someone tries out the level or sees the space for the first time, it is that great moment of wish fulfillment. But it's been a really rewarding experience because when it works, when it all fits together, you go, oh, we've done it.
One thing we know about Jim Henson is that he was an artist and an innovator, really in equal parts. All of this technology that's coming and has come over the last decades is something that he would be excited by, because we saw that during his own work.
And to allow us to make some of the creative calls and to do some really fun things that are still true to the movie, but that also make it kind of a new experience that no one has seen before. So this is definitely going to be one of the biggest, most ambitious courses that we've ever done.
Walkabout Mini Golf's Labyrinth collaboration launches this month, July 28th. Roots, how cool is this?
Super cool, man. I was telling you between the things, this is one that I want. I mean, not that I shouldn't buy everyone, but I want to buy this one. I want to own this one. I want a Muppet. I was thinking about this. I want a Muppets course next. Come on, Jim Henson, give us, Fozzie the Bear or something. I'd love the big Fozzie that his mouth opens and closes. I don't know. It'd be cool.
Now, this is going to be awesome, and I agree. Everyone should go out and pay for this. Obviously, you don't have to own it. If you have a friend that owns a Walkabout DLC, they can share it while you play with them. But I feel like when they go out and pick up cool IPs like this, that people should support it with their dollars so that we can get more stuff like this in the future. But yeah, man, what an awesome first themed DLC like this for them to pick up Labyrinth. It's going to be like a throwback to your childhood, right?
Yeah, absolutely. $3. It's less than a cup of coffee, and I'm blown away. Spry Guy has never seen Labyrinth. Is that possible?
What?
Yeah.
No. There's
Crazy.
always time, man. The 28th is still over 2 weeks away. And I'm probably going to get in there and watch it again before I play it, to be quite honest, because it's been a while for me.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of things. Pizza No Cheese says, keep up the good work. I can't wait for the new Oculus headset. Day one buy for me, skipping out on PSVR 2. If I get throwing $5 at us, and
Thank you.
Wolvie, for old time's sake, says Baywatch, great show, guys. Throwing $1.99. We appreciate you, Wolvie, and appreciate you being here, man. It's been we missed you, man.
Yeah, thanks for the donation, Wolvie, and thank you, Pizza No Cheese. Although I'm curious, did you get that backwards? Like you can't wait for the Quest Pro, but you're skipping on PSVR 2. I guess it might be one of those cable, like, I'm not going back to a cable, bro. That might be the thing.
I tell you what,
regardless,
by the time PlayStation VR 2 comes out and more games have been released, or as far as what's coming, I think people are going to change their mind a lot.
I agree. But regardless of that, thank you for the support, Pizza No Cheese. Thank you.
For real.
Wolvie, that's pretty awesome. Lee VR says I need to use my wheel and pedals with GTA 5 VR.
Yes, absolutely. Techno Glitch, that's one of the things that he raves about. He loves it. And you can have it set up to where, when you're not driving, you just get out of your chair and stand up and recenter, and vice versa. And then it's just crazy. Some people just drive around. That's all they do.
Traveling Man said this came out the day I turned 11. I went and seen it, but nobody was there. But it was awesome.
You had the whole movie theater to yourself. How cool!
I remember when this came out as well. I was very young. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I was very young. Again, this is just part of the magic of VR, right? It's the type of things that children dream of is what VR makes possible for us today. And that's not to even mention the fact that we're going to get to play mini golf when we're in these worlds.
Absolutely. What do you think about this? Was it traveling? Somebody was saying, four-wheeling, saying that the two old guys from Muppets talking shit to you when you miss. That would be awesome. That would be perfect.
That was the first thing I thought of, honestly, when you said that you wanted a Muppets courts. That's exactly where my brain went. Like those dudes in the stands is talking shit constantly.
Oh,
like
so
it
many.
could be like Scion and Jarillo up there talking shit about the Questicle Walkabout game, right?
So cool.
Anyway, really looking forward to the Labyrinth DLC. I'm not even going to be asking for a review key for it. We're just going to buy this one, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that's not the only awesome DLC. There's another game that's been getting pretty regular free DLC that just received another cool update just yesterday.
Didn't see that one coming. fury. Attack.
Demeo adds two-player doubles mode. So Roots, a great game which continues regularly to get better and better and better, addresses something that is one of a few Achilles heels that the game has. And that is, you've always up until now had to find three other people if you wanted to play it.
Or
Not
play
the
by
case
yourself,
anymore.
right? The skirmish,
yeah.
but that's too much, man. You know what I mean? Unless you're radio run.
Right. I mean, and this should help even toward another one of the game's flaws, and that is it typically takes a very long time to play a game of Demeo. But with that said, when you have four players, a lot of time gets burned up with people who don't know it's their turn, or people who spend a lot of time contemplating what their next move should be. When you take that four players down to two, and you still get four turns, there's still four characters, but now you're playing two people, the back and forth should go a lot more quickly because it's constantly your turn, right? You're always going to be ready for it to be your turn. I got to imagine that this is probably going to knock up to 30 minutes off of some of these games, right?
Yeah, and people are going to get better. You're double the fun. You're going to have two players you learn a little bit better. That's why the last time we did so poorly is, a couple things. We didn't take the right people in there. We forced you to go in with that class. We didn't have a hunter. Like, there's even strategy of just like, okay, you're going to need this. You're going to need this. And we just kind of willy-nilly went in. And I think even just doing a doubles thing, it seems to be a little bit more controlled than four people, right? So, yeah,
and what a good way to learn new character classes. Like, I very rarely move away from my rogue character because that's what I know. But if I'm in a two-player game with someone else, and now all of a sudden I have to pick another character, I'm probably not going to pick the same one and double up. I'm probably going to start trying to learn a new character, learn new skills and new strategies, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I didn't even really think about it until after the last game, when people are like, oh yeah, you should have took a hunter. I didn't know, man. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, I just wasn't thinking that. I just don't play enough, I guess. But this game is unrelenting. If you don't take the right stuff in there, it can get out of control very fast. Even if you have a controlled thing, when you get to the end and you don't have what you need, it sucks.
Yeah, it goes to hell pretty quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's what's so fun about it. It's all strategy. It's a strategy game, right? So I just think it's cool. I'm more apt to go in with two people than four. Jump in there with Mash or you or D, or you know what I mean? Just two, one-on-one, and just nail out the game, and it'd be cool.
Hawk 107 says, it's either my phone or this channel's audio is always low, even when I co-host on Without Parole. Now, with that said, Bluebell says the volume's good. So, yeah, this is like a never-ending debate here, whether our audio is low or is it just right. I know that in OBS, which is what we use to stream, we're getting up into the yellow cautionary part of the bar. And once you get up toward the top end of that, you start clipping out and the audio quality goes down. So literally, guys, we took another look at this before the show today, and we're right at the edge of where we can be. If we make it any louder, it's going to start sounding like garbage.
I even turned the audio down a little bit for the trailers, hoping. So I don't know. Hopefully those are not so jarring for people. We're trying, people. Come on, man.
AbJ says the audio is fine. AbJ says the audio is fine for them, and Dark Angel says that it sounds good. So I think most people think it's all right. It's just a few people, for whatever reason, maybe they're listening in some other device or scenario. For some people, it seems low.
Yeah, I'll see who's saying X says usually it's low and he has to bump it up, but today it seems good. So okay, good. Well, we're trying to. I mean, I always try to watch the bars, but I mean, sometimes there's weirdness. Like even before, I had to restart my computer because everything was kind of weird. So I don't know. Who knows?
Hussein X says usually it's low. It's good today. So maybe the history that Hawk 107's drawing on, maybe it'll be corrected
Today.
Going forward as well.
Yeah.
Decepticon says it's low.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh well, man. Sorry for those of you who have to turn it up. We're doing what we can here.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. We're talking about Demeo.
Demeo.
Well, let's talk about a few things before we move on. A few things that Demeo could do further to further improve upon the player experience. First of all, if you're going to have a doubles mode where each player can use two characters, have 2 turns, I'd like to see a 3-player mode where one player, preferably the host, can have 2 characters and then everyone else gets 1. Why not? I mean, if we're already introducing the functionality, why not be more flexible and let 3 players play?
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yep. And then the other 2 things I want to mention are things that I have mentioned since this game launched. First of all, this game needs a spectator mode. I should be able to bring people into my room with me to watch me play and talk to me and, suggest strategy or talk about football or whatever. We should be able to host people in here that aren't playing. I should be able to bring 5, 6, 7, 8 people into my room and have a party, a Demeo party. And not everyone has to be playing, right?
Absolutely. It'd be a good way to let people that don't own the game look at it in VR and see how cool it is. And then they wish that they did, and then they end up buying your game, and it's a win-win for everybody, right?
You're talking about a whole other can of worms, letting people who don't own the game in. I'm talking about letting people who do
Just go all the
own
way,
the game
bro.
just come on in and hang out.
That's true. Well, they already have the functionality of the room, right? People can come in and hang out in that house, and so why couldn't you just bring them in? They're already there.
It'd be hard. Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be too hard for them to do that. And the other thing I want to mention, why do we not have stick turning in this thing yet? Like the movement's fine, the grab and pull movement is fine, but the way they've got the turning set up is uber sensitive for me, and I always overturn and overcompensate, and then I have to try to turn back and I overcompensate that way, and it's always a struggle. It's not comfortable, and all they would have to do is enable stick turning. They could do it in 10 minutes, and I don't see how their current turn style adds to the game. Like if it were something that it would take away from the game to have stick turning, sure, but it wouldn't change the game at all. It would just make it easier for people like me.
Yeah. Well, I would even go further, and I'd like to be able to move forward and backwards and not just with my sticks. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be times when you have to drag yourself, and that's great. I will, like, make it a hybrid. And then most of the time when I can just move forward, move back, spin, then it's going to make it a lot more comfortable, a lot easier for me to be in a game that I'm playing for almost 3 hours. Because by that time, I'm tired of dragging myself around, you know?
Yeah, and I know I'm not the only person that's ever said this, so why are they clinging to this and being so stubborn about it? I don't understand. They're a great studio. They typically listen to everything that people say and implement. They do regular updates. For some reason, they're being stubborn about this one, and I'd like to know why.
Mash says it's just you, Wes, and Bluebell says just wanted to say in chat that once again, your notes are awesome, and thank you for all your hard work. For real, like... Dude, like they're awesome. That's why it's awesome that they're there, and they're there for the patrons.
Thank you, Bluebell. Your support means a lot. And Bluebell is always the first to comment on the Patreon anytime I put anything up. Thank you. You're awesome.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up our headlines, but it's going to bring us into a new segment before we get into reminders. I want to do a segment called Non-Headlines. And what non-headlines are things that I expected to be headlines, things I think are newsworthy that for whatever reason didn't get an article on any of the VR news media or video game media in general. I mean, I took to Google to try to find articles from anywhere on this stuff, Roots. Nothing, not one, which is crazy to me because there's some awesome stuff that we need to talk about.
Your aunt left you something special in her will. A table. But inside this table, a whole world of cities and ships. Swashbuckling and adventure. Sword fighting and alchemy. And above all, a world of shadowy cults, dark gods, and scoundrels.
This is my table of tales. Let's play.
Oh, we're back on.
How many times have we said, Roots, that Table of Tales is a game before its time, and what a shame it was that this game came out before the Oculus Quest era and that this developer wasn't able to reap the benefits of a healthy VR market. Well, that is the case no longer, as Table of Tales The Crooked Crown, as you can see here, coming soon to Quest 2, which is awesome. For those of you who think that you might like a game like Demeo, but you wish it were a little bit more story focused and that you didn't have to have a bunch of friends, maybe you don't like playing multiplayer games, this is the game for you. Table of Tales was awesome on PC. It was awesome on PlayStation when it launched, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be awesome on Quest 2.
Ryan Brandon says thumbs down. Oh, I'll tell you what, I played this on PlayStation VR and I fell in love with it. You know, it's like Demeo, but it's a full story campaign, and it's different. You know what I mean? I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and then it came to PC VR, and it's one game I want to go to, back to with my new video card. It was amazing. I loved it. So I think it'll be a hit, and you know, it's like skirmish mode on Demeo, but story based, right? So
narrated story. It was a narrated story.
The Raven's awesome.
Which is, yeah, which is different. It's a story driven adventure, kind of put in a Demeo style package.
Yeah,
and it's fun to play. It has that turn based strategy that everyone loves, but it has, again, the storytelling and some pretty cool looking environments to go with it. It's a really high quality game. For what it's worth, Tatum in the chat says that it is on sale. If you have PSVR, you can pick it up pretty cheap right now. But yeah, man, I'm excited. This actually, Roots, not just coming to Quest, it's also coming to Nintendo Switch.
Oh, wow. That tells you how good it is. I'll tell you, the voice acting in this game, which is really pretty much, it's kind of like you would imagine if, you know, somebody was telling a tale to their kid or something using different voices and stuff, is spot on. It was really good, and it was one of the things I enjoyed the most about it. And the story's good, so I need to get back in there and check it out.
Travelman says, doesn't it have branching paths as well? Yeah, to an extent it does. There's certainly choices that you make affect the story. So, I mean, it's kind of like Saints and Sinners, where you're going to end up in the same place, but the path you take to get there is kind of up to you.
And there's 5 different characters, 4 that really you end up taking with you for various reasons. I'll let you figure that out. And what's cool is each one goes back to their like homeland area, and it has a backstory to it. So I really, I haven't even seen everybody's backstory, and it's been so long since I've played that it would be like I was playing again for the first time, I think, for the most part.
That's cool, because I do believe we're going to be covering this one way or another when it launches on Quest, which isn't very long. I mean, it says, I'm pretty sure it says it's out this month. So
yeah, it's
literally.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Literally, it showed up on the store today, I think, and I think it says it's out in July, so a couple weeks we should have this one.
Yeah, it says high replayability. No one playthrough is the same. It's based on critical choices you make on your way, including throwing your scoundrels overboard. And then each, scoundrel has their own skill and stack upgrade path. This is the thing. There was so much depth to this game, and this is like a 2 or 3 year old VR game, and it was way ahead of its time because there wasn't anything this deep when it came out, and it still stands up today.
Michelle B says just wishlisted, and spoiler alert, yeah, this is my wishlist title this week as well.
Absolutely.
We haven't gotten to the wishlist segment yet, but yeah, I already decided that this was going to be the one. So yeah, pretty awesome.
Cool.
Give me just a second. I'm logging in right now and just going to go ahead and do it.
Might as well do it now, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm on the page, so just got to log in. All right, boom, add the wish list, done. Looks like it's only going to be a 1 gigabyte download too, so they've done a good job optimizing this for Quest.
I just did it too. Well, it was because I already had the page up from for the scene. It's right there.
Right. Yeah.
Real time.
Anyway, that's not the only non-headline I'd like to talk about this week. There's another one that I just can't believe no one's talking about.
Wake up. I know you can. Open your eyes.
I can't believe it worked. Sasha, is that you? We've received a distress signal from your crewmate on Strelka N3. You have a new mission. Find him and bring him home.
Why would they build a research facility way out here?
My reports show nothing. That sector should be deserted. Something just doesn't add up. Be careful.
Oh no. Belgravia isn't what we were led to believe.
I can't control it. Sasha? Sasha? Do you read me?
So the end of that trailer there says Red Matter 2, highly anticipated sequel to one of Gen 1 VR's highest quality titles, coming in summer 2022. But this past week we got a release date for Red Matter 2 as Vertical Robot took to their Twitter account to say that we are very excited to finally announce that Red Matter 2 will be available on MetaQuest VR and PC on August 18th. To celebrate, here's our new cover art. Check it out. Ruuts, I'm pretty sure that this is the first time that we've had some confirmation that this wasn't going to be a Quest exclusive. Am I wrong?
No, that was one of the things we said we wanted to see because it was so beautiful on the PC VR, right? But nobody's talking about this?
Nobody, not one article. Not one. And this was 2 days ago. This was put up on Twitter. It's not like they haven't had time to get an article up. Like the Table of Tales thing, I understand because that went up this morning. This is days old and nobody's talking about it. And I mean, Red Matter, absolutely among the class, not only on PC, not only on PlayStation, but it's still one of the most gorgeous looking games on the Quest platform. Even on the original Quest, it looks better than most Quest 2 games. I don't know how these guys do it, but I do know that they've had years to get better at development, and I cannot wait to see what this thing looks like, not only on Quest, but now on PC.
So you think somebody at Vertical Robot dropped the ball? Because, I mean, it's got to be their job to reach out and to upload, or whoever, and say, hey, like, we want you to, we're releasing in August, you know, send the tweet or something. I don't know.
I don't know how that works. I know that typically press releases go out when things get announced. I don't know if they would do a press release on something like this, like it's just a release date. But again, it is a kind of a PC reveal on top of that.
That's
I mean,
true. I want to pin it on
news
somebody.
to me.
I want to pin it on somebody, and then we'll start a movement to go after them. Fire them.
Well, let's pin it.
Don't fire them, please.
Let's pin it on the VR news sites out there, man.
Oh yeah, what are you guys doing? Like,
yeah.
Well, okay, and you can also say this, you know, because we always talk about it in jest of some point, but like, why is somebody not approaching Wes and saying, look, man, we know that you want to go deeper into this industry. We want you to come report for us. Like, and I'm not even joking, dude. Like, that would like be the best pickup, I think. I don't know, man. We were just talking about your notes, dude. You know, like, because you're actually finding shit like this. You find those little nuggets. So
yeah, well, in my opinion, this is more than a little nugget, and that's
it's
fine.
a huge one, huge nugget.
We will continue to take advantage of the ineptitude of the VR media as long as they continue to miss stuff like this, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, this game, I mean, the original was amazing, right? I mean, even like there are very few games out there where I'll talk about how good the teleport locomotion is, but this is one of them, right?
Yeah, and the way they use their controllers, I've seen it, the controllers in the game, I've seen it done in a couple other games since, but they were the first and they did it the best. The only thing that I think, and I'm hoping they improve on in this sequel, would be the story. But like, I wanted to teleport. I loved the movement style, and it was beautiful. It was intriguing. I wanted to see where I was going. It was a very well made game. I really enjoyed it, and another game ahead of its time, right?
Yeah. Eye candy, great controls and locomotion, a full gamut of options, fun puzzles that won't break your brain, and an awesome original story. Just again, among the class of Gen 1 VR, and I'm thrilled to learn that we're not going to have to wait very much longer to play this game. Coming out next month.
Oh, crazy.
And on PC. How awesome is that?
Yeah, that's the best news for me with my 3080 Ti. I'll crank up the, you know what I mean? Like, as great as it, and this is the thing, man. I never saw the original Red Matter on Quest. I know you did, and it really was. I've seen video, and it really was beautiful, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Imagine what they've done since then.
They did ray tracing on friggin' cell phone hardware, dude.
That's crazy. Well, it just shows you the good developers, they push the limits. Like Shadowgate, Red Matter 2, they do things that other developers aren't doing in their games, and other developers should be looking at them and saying, okay, what are they doing? Let's figure out how we can do that too.
How come these guys haven't been picked up by like Sony or Meta yet? I mean, come on.
That's true. Very true.
Traveling Man in the chat says Twilight Zone on the 14th, Moss 2 on the 21st, Table of Tales probably on the 28th. What a month. Yeah, and that's just on Quest. Like, if you start thinking about what's coming to PC, Kayak VR, which I guess we're getting ready to talk about what's coming this week. Kayak VR is coming out this week. And Super Kit to the Top is going to hit early access. And then, you know, all the awesome stuff that we've had over the last few weeks. July, the game of the month July is not going to be quite so easy as the game of the month June was.
That's what I was going to say, that it's going to be a crazy conversation.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up the non-headlines and bring us into the week's reminders. And we just mentioned it. We're going to start the way we always do with what's out this week. And we've got eye candy coming to PCVR, Roots. So, Kayak VR Mirage heading to Steam VR on July 12th. Man, I'm buying a fire extinguisher tomorrow because in 2 days my graphics card catches on fire.
You know, I know, dude. I'll tell you what, man. I've got the new graphics card at the right time. I'm looking at this, and I always think that we say that we don't mind having a walking sim if it's like beautiful and whatever. This is a walking sim, or at least I have no idea. I don't know anything about the gameplay, but in a sense, but it's so much better. Like even if I'm just going on this journey and I'm kayaking through these amazing environments, I want to do it. Because I've not seen water that looks this good. Now I haven't seen it in the headset, but if it looks anything, which I'm sure it will, everything, like you were saying, everything, the rocks, the textures, everything looks amazing on this.
Yeah, I've seen people who have played this raving about it. You know, PD, GT, our old co-host Alex, raving about just how awesome this looks, and we just got the key for it this morning. I can't wait to get in there and actually check it out. But there is gameplay here, Roots. It's not just all passive, which, by the way, I don't think that the gameplay even matters here. I don't think I'll be participating in that game mode very much. There's a free roam mode, which is probably how I'm going to spend my time in this game. But there is, I think, some kind of like time trial racing based type stuff in it. It does feature asynchronous multiplayer, so it kind of records your runs, I think, and then you can kind of see what your friend did when they were playing it and kind of, race their ghost or whatever. But again, this is all about the visuals. It's all about being immersed in these environments. And there's been a few different environments I've seen footage from, and they all look stunning.
That's crazy. Traveling Man says the weather looks amazing from the videos, and somebody was saying something about the environments as well. But how crazy is it that it's a 2080 is recommended? Like we're now getting to the point, especially with the water and everything the way it looks. I mean, I'm sure you could probably run it on something less, but maybe a 1080 Ti or 1080 or.
Bluebell says I have the demo. I'm running it on a 1660, and it works no problem.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
1660. Yeah, that's like the equivalent of a 1070. Like it's not a lot of power.
I loved my 1070. Of course, it was when it was, the 1080 series,
Right.
But it was cool.
Those old cards still work well. The 1070s and 1080s, they still will get you through 90% of what comes out today.
Yeah, I mean, especially, a 1080 is definitely good enough. I mean, obviously, if the 1660 plays a lot of stuff, right? But it's crazy how fast things are moving.
Yeah, like I said before, like when you upgrade your graphics card to something like a 3000 series card, really all you're buying is a little bit of your time back, so you don't have to tweak so much. You can just play instead of dialing things back when it don't work right.
That's true. Well, you're also at least you can crank things up and make it look really good. It was a real upgrade going to the 3000 series because it doubled the bus width, right? Like, and so everything runs faster, just in general. But I think where we'll really see it is that new technology where it's going to be with the 12th gen. Will really the direct gameplay or whatever from the video card to
Big Chris says I have real kayaks, so my 1080 can relax a little. Well, good on you, bro. I'm sure it's a completely different experience being out there for real. But there's something to be said for the comfort of your own home, right?
Yeah, and who knows what everything's going to be like. There's going to go into environments that you've never been into, right? So.
Awesome Tatum, I had a 1660 Ti for a while and was able to run everything in VR pretty decent. Well, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Echo into the future. My cloud machine is a 1080 now with 12 gigabytes of RAM. Runs things quite well so far. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with your videos. Echo into the future's been posting gameplay videos on our Discord. All of the PC VR that he does is from cloud-based PC. It's not It's not the one we covered where you have to buy tokens. You pay a flat rate. It starts at like $30 a month, and you have actual hard drive and memory, and it'll save your stuff so you don't have to install it every time. It actually works pretty well.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed.
That's really good, actually. That's the way. I mean, that's the future. Eventually, you know.
Yeah. Well, the future's now.
Yeah, the
apparently. And
future is now.
That's not a lot of money. Like if Dee weren't getting that system donated and built for her, like this would be the way to go, right?
Yeah, cancel your Netflix. You should be doing that anyway, and just because the programming sucks anymore, and just shift it over to cloud-based gaming.
There you go.
Win-win.
Echo says, yeah, 256 gigabytes of storage you get. That's enough, man. That's enough. I mean, if you're just accessing your cloud PC for gaming purposes, you just play a few games at a time and
Right.
you know,
Pick
when you're done.
Yeah, pick your games, whatever 2 or 3 games you want to play at one time, and just focus on them, and then do the swapperoo, right?
Yep. And I'm sure if you wanted to pay for more, you could get more, you know.
Right. Yeah, bigger package, right? You know who else likes a
Yeah,
bigger package?
My mom!
Yeah.
No, I looked into it, and you could pay like 10 more bucks to get like to upgrade to RTX like graphics card.
Oh fuck,
So,
man!
yeah.
How do you not pay it? I mean, unless you're really strapped. Like, if you're already paying 30, why not pay 40, right? So
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is pennies on the dollar compared to what you're going to spend on building a real life PC. And you know, as the times change and the technology gets better, it's just going to auto upgrade for you, right? You're not going to have to buy a new graphics card every other year.
right, yeah, absolutely. Wait in line or scalpers, all that crap.
Right. You get all you got to do is make sure you pay your bill, and that's it. You're done.
Yep. It'll probably come. It'll be at some point come with a computer. You know, people buy a computer and they're like, here, like in the Quest too. I'm sure they'll start having it as an option. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I expect that fully, probably on Quest 3. I would say they're going to start to introduce some kind of cloud component, and we hope so, right? Because then we'll start to see Meta invest in higher fidelity games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's not all that's out this week. You heard Traveling Man allude to it a little bit earlier. We're about to take a trip to a place that not many men go, a place called the Twilight Zone.
What if you could step into a world where anything is possible, where nothing is as it seems? Welcome to the Twilight Zone. Come join us in the Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone VR coming this Thursday, July 14th, exclusively to MetaQuest 2. Roots, a beloved franchise, comes to VR.
Oh, I love the Twilight Zone, and I can't wait to get in there and check it out. And hopefully, the stories are as good as they could be or should be. You know, it's storytelling. Twilight Zone is all about storytelling, and as long as they make the stories entertaining, it's going to be good. So,
I absolutely agree with that. And again, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that red button and ring that bell, because this is one of the titles. Actually, these two titles, this is what we're covering this week on Strangers in the Night. So tune in Wednesday night / Thursday morning for extended impressions of Kayak VR Mirage and the Twilight Zone VR.
Yep.
Anyway, that brings us to our next reminder. It's time for another Viveport Report, Roots. A new title, second week in a row. We got a new banger on Viveport Infinity as Yuki has made its way to the catalog.
Yeah, Mash's baby, right?
Yeah, and now apparently going to be a lot more people's baby, as this is not for only the annual users, but everyone can download and try Yuki today.
What a perfect game for, I say this almost every time, whoever's getting the games for Viveport Infinity, they're really nailing it. They're getting the good ones, and they're all ones that it's you want to have a game that people want to go back into, right? Like especially the way that they pay out the devs. And so this is good for Arvor, because you're going to get sucked in, or Arvar, or whatever, however you pronounce it. It's just a lot of time that's going to be spent in there, and so that's good for Viveport, and it's good for them, right? So
yeah, it's a win-win for everyone, and it's a great game, and I'm happy to see that more people are going to be able to experience it now and learn what a good game this is.
Yep, absolutely.
Mepper, is the Twilight game going to be better than Tarzan? Aren't some of the same devs involved? It's the same publisher.
Right.
That's the only similarity. And it's a very different kind of VR experience. Without going too much detail about the game, I can tell you it's very different from Tarzan.
Right.
Anyway, if you haven't already, check out Viveport Infinity subscription. It's the best deal in VR. If you're new to PC VR and you don't have any games to play, the first thing you should buy is Viveport Infinity.
And then download Yuki, because it's amazing.
Yeah. And the other 1,060 games that's available on Viveport Infinity right now.
Yeah, and if you think, if you can, or once you realize, just get it for a month, and once you realize you like it, it's worth it to subscribe for the year. You're still going to get charged monthly, but they give you the break for that monthly charge. And now anytime a game drops that they say is for the people that have the yearly annual, you're not left out. And all those people are like, it's bullshit. You get to own it for, ever. So it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we come to the wish list segment of the show, where we ask all of you to please take a moment of your time, just a minute, and give us a couple clicks. Wish list a game that you're interested in. We do this in order to support the developers that make all of these awesome games possible. It's a small thing that we can do that makes a very big difference to these studios. And we already talked about it earlier. Roots and I and Michelle B wish listed Table of Tales this week. We highly suggest you do the same, but if you're not, let us know. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments down below. What did you wish list this week?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess Bluebell wants to know what the cost of it's gonna be, Yuki. Or I guess what are you talking? What are you talking about? What does it cost? So Viveport Infinity, it's like what?
Infinity?
It's like $10 a month, I think. $12 maybe.
Yeah, hold on just a second, and I'll give you a definitive answer on that.
Yeah, I think there might even be a free. There used to be a free month, but maybe it doesn't exist anymore.
They do promotions all the time. Free promotions. They did one recently, actually. But there's also lots of awesome games on there, like Swords of Gura. But give me just a moment, and I'll get you that exact pricing.
But there's almost 2,000 games, Wes? I can't remember the exact amount of games you have access to.
On Infinity, it's 1,062.
Okay, so 1,062, and like at least a quarter of those are banger, like really good games that you would have wanted to check out anyway. So it's a great way to do that as well. Like if you're trying to decide to buy a game, it's a great way to play it first, and then if they have it, and then you can buy it. You can even buy it from them on a discount. So,
All right. So monthly Infinity Standard is $12.99 per month. They have a 2-week free trial.
there you go.
So you can try it for 2 weeks without paying anything.
All right. So go check it out and try all those games.
Or you can do annual standard, which is $9 a month. It's an annual commitment, but it's billed monthly. So they'll break it up over 12 payments, $9 per month, and it's the same thing as the standard. Plus, you get access to premium titles, which are the best of the best titles they hold out for the annual subscribers. And it's $3 per. Actually, it's $4 per month less to do it that way. All you're doing is making that commitment.
That's what I was going to ask. The next question, Wes, is why would they price it that way and say $12.99? Because you even, because I myself included, you even read it the first time. Your mind tells you it's $3. We're so conditioned to that 99 cents. You know what I mean? So it's actually $4 or $3.99. I mean, that's a big difference per month. So it's $50 over the year. And you're getting games on top of it. That's a no-brainer, and you're still getting billed monthly. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Anybody who has PCVR should pick it up, especially even people like Echo that have the Shadow PC. I'm quite sure you can install Viveport on that, sign right into it, and install your games.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what Big Chris said. Viveport plus Cloud PC is the future.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. It's like Game Pass for VR.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, that brings us to our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can do your part to support us, our channel, our community, and help us to grow. Of course, if you haven't already, the best thing that you can do, the easiest thing you can do, is click that big red subscribe button, but don't forget to ring the bell as well so that you can be notified when we're about to go live here on Virtual Strangers, which is more and more these days, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, if you'd like to do a little something extra, if you're already subscribed and want to really help support us, you can support us on Patreon. For as little as $3 per month, you get access to our weekly show notes, which have been referenced a few times already today. But you also get insider updates, and you get exclusive content, all for less than $1 per week, as well as the peace of mind of knowing that you did a little something extra, that you did your part to help grow this thing here that we all live for and enjoy. So thank you. Shout out to all our patrons out there. And thank you to anyone who's considering supporting us on Patreon. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely.
Rob Perry says, I've never heard of Viveport. Thank you for the heads up. Oh, dude, you're going to love this shit, man. It's really something. Just go check out the Viveport Infinity library and look at the price and tell me it's not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even some of the gems like Tornuffalo, even though they're like a bad movie, they're fun to go in and check out and laugh. That's always fun.
Yeah, even the bad ones are good, right?
Yeah, they have because it costs you nothing. You know what I mean? That's the best. Like it's the best place for even them, right? You got the good, the bad. There's no reason to not check it out. You can just go spend hours checking out all sorts of games and find like games like Space Cats with lasers, and you think, oh, that's gonna be stupid, and it's like amazing. Like, why is everybody not playing this game?
Yeah, and then there are legit amazing games like that everyone knows about, like Wanderer and After the Fall. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That are on there as well.
Absolutely.
Rob Perry says, for someone brand new to VR, that's going to be sick. Yes, it is absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, last but not least, we'd like to invite you to meet us on Discord. There's a Discord invitation down below for the Virtual Strangers Discord server, which is where we hang out. It's where we lurk 24/7, 365. We're in there all the time, hooking up for, multiplayer sessions, sharing news, and sharing our videos. It's all on there. It's a family atmosphere. It's the best of the best. Good peoples. We invite you to come become part of the family, all you have to do is click the invitation down below. We'll see you there.
Yeah, come home. So before we go, Rob Perry asked another question. Let me lost my chat. So here it says, do we currently use Viveport? Not only do we currently use Viveport, they actually sponsor us, and that's why we well, one of the reasons we've been talking about Viveport for years, and so that we I guess I don't even know how it happened, but we ended up getting a sponsorship through them, and we want to yell at the rooftops how good it is, because it is good. It's a win-win.
Well, here, this is legitimately how it happened. Okay, so I used to pay for Viveport, and we would report regularly on the show whenever new games would come on it, because I believed in it. It was such a good deal, and back then it was even cheaper than it is now. It was like a lot cheaper back then.
$6.99.
And but you know, it had about half the games back then too. You know what I mean? But we kept raving about it and going on about it and regularly covering Viveport Infinity on this channel, and they took notice of it, and they started contacting us in email, giving us heads up on what was coming to Viveport. And then eventually it got to the point where my subscription was up, and I was like, look, I've got more games now than I can play. I'm probably not going to renew my subscription this next time, so that means we're not going to be able to cover you guys like we have been. And they said, well, that's no problem. We'll get you guys a subscription. And ever since then, we've had Infinite Infinity. So we've had Viveport Infinity for a couple years now on the house. And in exchange for that, and there was no quid pro quo. They didn't say you guys have to do X, Y, Z. They just said, here, have Infinity. But since they do that, we keep an eye on it. And when they get a new title, we tell people. That's all we do. We tell people about it. The only reason we went through the pricing and all that stuff just then is because people were asking about it. But all we do is tell people when awesome titles get added to the catalog, which is pretty frequent. You know, a couple times a month we'll talk about Viveport.
All right, and the case point where we would use it the most would be because we don't always get access to keys, and maybe we want to talk about a game, but they didn't give us a key. We don't want to buy a key, but it's on Viveport. You know, we've used that several times that way, right? Or the Viveport report where we've gone in the top 5. Or I guess it's the top 5 Viveport games, right? So
yeah, we've done best of Viveport, which typically is us making fun of it more than it is showing it off.
Because there's a lot of weird games on there, a lot of weird games, which is kind of cool.
There's
to
some
sift
weird
through.
stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, we use Viveport primarily when we don't get review keys, because a lot of stuff comes to Viveport on day one, and when we don't get a review key for something, rather than buy it, we just go play it on Viveport.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up our show for this week. I'd like to thank you all once again for watching, and for Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you in a couple days. Bye now.
Take it easy.